welcome to Mr. Teach Film Preach, and if you're a film lover like I am, then you are in the right place. And if you're in the right place, click like down below and subscribe to my channel for more content. Also, let me know in the comment section, what did you think of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1? What is your favorite of the Mission Impossible films? Help us get to that 200 subscribers goal by the end of this year. And you can do that by clicking that button. Thanks so much for doing that. Today we're talking about the 2023 anticipated sequel action spy adventure film, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Ethan Hunt and his team at IMF must track down a key that can unlock a dangerous weapon upon the world if it falls in the wrong hands. A deadly race ensues for the key around the globe while Ethan Hunt and his team is being confronted by a mysterious and all-powerful enemy.
You've no idea the power I represent. It knows your story and how it ends.
Now, I am a fan of the Mission Impossible franchise. Am I like the biggest lover? No, this is not like a Lord of the Rings situation for me. But I have always enjoyed the Mission Impossible films. I think all of them are really great in their own way. I like all the different styles that each film has. Tom Cruise is an absolute madman.
Boom! You got me, man.
He still is putting out fun, adventurous, entertaining, blockbuster films, and I have to appreciate him for as long as we have him. Maverick, that came out last year, was just one of the best films of the year, and now he's following up with another character he's been playing for over 20 years.
Play that same song! Alright, same song, here we go!
Now, this is a part 1. You have to go into this movie just expecting that and realizing that. I don't see Tom Cruise giving up this franchise anytime soon, and nor do I really want him to. If he wants to keep making these movies and doing these insane stunts, and studios want to keep throwing money at him, and by all means, you do you, Tom Cruise. You do you.
I do!
After the high bar that Mission Impossible Fallout, the last film, had set, I didn't know if the creators and Christopher McQuarrie and all of them were going to be able to hold this film up to as high of a standard. To be honest, they did a really great job. I was so impressed with this film. This is a great time at the movie theater. Whether you're a Mission Impossible lover or not, whether you like Tom Cruise or not, you have to appreciate the filmmaking, the balls, the talent, the skill it took to pull off these kind of stunts and action scenes that are being shown in this film. It's not just great visuals and awesome cinematography. There are those things in this film, but what it takes for these coordinators and the stuntmen and working with Tom Cruise and all of the people to make these stunts seem real, because they are not using CGI to put someone on top of a train. That is really Tom Cruise on that train. When you see an actor's face and cheeks blowing in the wind, I love that you can feel all of those stunts and those moments in this film, and makes it a big spectacle because we don't get many movies like this. Not every single one of these Mission Impossible films have an action sequence or a stunt sequence that you remember necessarily. Like Rogue Nation, I have a hard time remembering certain stunts and like what was the plot line of that movie, and it kind of blends in and mixes in a little bit with like Ghost Protocol, and some of the events that happen in these films sometimes blend together. This movie, I remember very specific things about this film, especially the action scenes, like the set piece in Rome where they are traveling in that yellow car. It is like a Buster Keaton silent film. The car is flipping upside down and doing all these crazy things. Haley Atwell and Tom Cruise are handcuffed together to the steering wheel. She's driving, he's telling her where to go. They're falling down these steps. Palm Clementine in a huge, massive truck chasing after them, smashing through things. Like, it is such an amazing scene. And they actually shot it in Rome. They didn't just CGI in Vin Diesel and Dame Helen Mirren like they did in Fast X. They actually shot on location, and you can feel the location affect the film and the scene in which is taking place in it. Venice, they actually filmed in Venice. Nightclub scene within the fight scene on the bridge between Elsa and Gabriel. The Abu Dhabi airport at the beginning of the film where we meet Haley Atwell's character. And the entire plotline as it begins to unfold at the Abu Dhabi airport was stunning. Then of course you got the big stunt that we've been leading up to for 2 years, it feels like. Tom Cruise taking off that mountain, jumping off on that motorcycle. Then there's a whole scene on the train in the Austrian mountains, and that was absolutely breathtaking. The interesting choreography that they had to go through to have that train derail it, and Ethan and Grace trying to survive through the multiple different train cars. You know, one train car, they're dodging a massive piano. Another train car, they're in a kitchen and, you know, there's fire and hot oil. All these really cool obstacles that they have to get through in each train car. And just how they designed it and made it a part of the film and made it such a big, massive set piece was great. And a little bit of a callback of having Ethan fighting on top of a train against a villain, just like he did in the very first film against Jon Voight. Green light! Another great thing is that you get to learn a little bit more about Ethan's backstory. Now, I don't know if necessarily Gabriel, who's the villain in this film, was the best, and they kind of shoehorn him into Ethan's past. Feels a little bit rushed and a little bit like, we'll just put that in there because it raises the stakes for everything. It didn't quite work necessarily, but it didn't detract from the rest of the film either. It didn't make the film fall apart. He was still a really great villain, and the actor, Mr. Morales, who plays him, was awesome. The story here is a MacGuffin film after a specific key, and we don't know exactly what that key unlocks or does, but we know that something very big will happen. It's very powerful. It's world-changing. You don't need much more than that for a Mission Impossible film. Ving Rhames is back, Simon Pegg, Rebecca Ferguson, who I absolutely love, Vanessa Kirby, who's one of my favorites, Palm Clemente from the MCU is awesome in this film in like a silent role but a deadly henchman. Henry Czerny from the first Mission Impossible film is back as Kittredge again, and I love that they call him back. But the standout performance above all else is Haley Atwell. I mean, this woman was 13 years or more in the MCU as Peggy Carter and never really felt like she got her due. So she's been around and doing lots of other films as well, but this movie felt like a breakout role for her. This felt like her massive arrival on scene, and she is here as a leading lady. She is here as an action star, and I thought she was incredible in this movie. Her chemistry with Tom Cruise was great. Played this great cat and mouse game between Ethan Hunt and Grace, and I thought worked very well with their character dynamic and how they integrated that relationship into the plot line of the film. Made it so complicated because she is a civilian. She's not an agent. She's not ex-military. She is a thief. It's really cool to see her get swept up into this world of the IMF, AI systems known as the Entity, trying to kill her and this team, and see how she deals with all of that. And the Mission Impossible franchise has done such a great job of bringing in wonderful female protagonists and antagonists. I hope we get a lot more of Grace in Dead Reckoning Part 2 and maybe even beyond. Such a great balance in this movie of the levity and fun and adventure globetrottingness of Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol and mixing it with the intense, strong, world-building, aggressive, thrilling action such as Mission Impossible Fallout, and mix the two of them really well in this movie. There were times where I was burst out laughing. There was times where I was on the edge of my seat, white-knuckling it for the second half of this film. It is so intense, and I love that they're able to balance that perfectly. Christopher McQuarrie is a great director. I really enjoyed both Rogue Nation and Fallout. He just has an awesome eye to put real action, real stunts on screen, make it look visually appealing and interesting, and still have a great story that also includes characterization. I'm so glad he is doing part 1 and part 2. This movie is 2 hours and 45 minutes long, but honestly, it moves so damn fast. it feels like maybe 2 hours and 10 minutes. And I see why they've kind of divvied this movie into part 1 and part 2, because there are so many characters, so many plot lines, so much stories and story convergence happening that you need a lot of screen time to tell all of these plots and give characters their just rewards, either character arcs or ending character arcs. This movie does it beautifully. Because the action is so realistic looking in the way they shoot it, the CGI that accompanies this film at times is very apparent, especially on the train scene at the end where each train car is slowly dropping into the river down below. Which is too bad because the rest of the movie looks so realistic. And there's a couple of story things and there's a few little minor plot things that obviously it's a Mission Impossible film, you just kind of have to get over. If you shut your brain off and just sit back, relax, and just watch in all of the amazing stunts, this film is totally worth your time.
Check it out, huh?
The actors are fantastic. It's very funny at times. There's such great action sequences. Now I'm gonna get into a little bit of some spoiler territory here. Spoiler warning in 3, 2, 1, you've been warned. There is a certain death in this film that a lot of people are upset with, and that's the character of Ilsa, who is played by Rebecca Ferguson. And I actually thought it was a great death. I thought it made sense. They need to have some stakes in the film. They need to show that Ethan can't save everyone, because that is a big part of his story and his arc in this film. Am I sad? Yeah, of course. I love that character, and maybe she's not dead, and maybe she'll come back. Overall, this is a really solid film and a really solid action movie franchise. Tom Cruise has done it again, delivered to us a fantastic, entertaining popcorn adventure blockbuster film.
Thank you, Tiny Tom Cruise.
I love the Mission Impossible franchise so much, and obviously I cannot wait for Dead Reckoning Part 2. Show me! Let's do a quick ranking of the Mission Impossible movies. Mission Impossible 2 is number 7. Mission Impossible 3 is number 6. Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol is number 5. Mission Impossible number 1, the original, is number 4. Number 3 goes to Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Number 2 is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. And then I would say still my one that I've enjoyed the most and was the most impressed with was Mission Impossible Fallout. So I highly recommend you check out this film, whether you're a fan of this franchise or not. This is definitely worth seeing in the movie theater. Before I give the final grade for this film, I just want to remind everyone to click that like button and subscribe to my channel. Help us get to that 200 subscriber goal for this channel by the end of this year. Thank you so much for doing that. I'm going to go ahead and give Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 an A. What did you think of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1? What is your favorite Mission Impossible film of them all? And I would love to hear your ranking of the Mission Impossible films as well. Thank you so much for checking out Mr. T's Film Preach. Come back and check out some other videos. Joyride, Indiana Jones, and The Dial of Destiny. This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds. Stay focused, stay awesome, and as always, let's get taught.